We pick up where we left off immediately yesterday, and that was looking at the example of, well, first we looked at my example of the nationwide smoking ban. Then we looked at Connor and Jake's example of the BCS and its unfairness. You should understand pretty clearly the structure of this paper as we discussed and remember is available in the model example of my affirmative summary online. Today I'd like to answer any last questions, and I'd like to begin by talking about the MLA format because I'm pretty sure that's really what you folks need to discuss, is MLA format and how to use citations. So let me bring up some of the material here, and if you have any, well, tell you what, let me pause for a moment here. Okay, we're back on track. Take a look at the works cited page that you have in front of you. Let me, actually I want to reduce it just a little bit. So, just look at it reduced. Look at the entire page. What do you notice about formatting? It's double spaced throughout. Thank you, Jordan. What else? Hanging indentation throughout. Anything else? Works cited is centered and up at the top. What do you notice is not on this page? Actually, the name is up there, but very close. What is actually missing? The header is there, but what is not there? Heading. Footer, you'd never have an MLA. The heading is not there. Also, students are really tempted to include bullets or numbers. Don't do it. There are no bullets or numbers. And I was actually happy that not a single annotated bibliography used bullets or numbers. Thank you very much. I think that might be the first time in my life I've gotten a work cited. Yeah, really. No, applaud yourselves. No numbers, no bullets. Just like this.
What order are the pieces in?
Why is the first one first, second one second? Alphabetical order. And, hold on, let me give you a better view here. Why is T after E? Yeah. The and A, the articles do not count, so health consequences right here. And actually, as I look at it, wait a minute, I made a mistake.
What's the mistake? Should be below 10. Yep.
And watch how simple this is. Look at that. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I screwed everything up. Yeah, in about 2.5 seconds, you just fixed it. A sentence thing.
Annotated bit, you have a sentence. Works cited page, you don't, right? Good point.
Yep, excellent point, Robbie. So take a look at what you've got here at the top. You've got a works cited page, not an annotated bibliography. Works cited are only the citations. So good job. That's what your works cited page should look like. I have 8 citations here. Now let's talk about in-text citations. And I'm going to be very careful about this. And man, I'm going to emphasize it. Mrs. Kozak and I had a miserable time Q3 last year because I decided that, well, I'm going to throw down a zero tolerance assignment, current events. And I said, if you do not follow this rule, you will earn a 0. And you'd think, pretty easy, right? My rule was, you've got to cite your resources. You don't even have to do it correctly. You just have to do it. Just an in-text citation on resources. I can't tell you how many students are in zeros. And you would think in the assignment sheet, 0 tolerance, 0 for doing this, and still. So, I'm serious about it. I want you to understand it, and it's really clear. Let's take a look at what I've got.
And if you did not do well, you should have paper and pencil out. You should be writing some of this down. You can write on your annotated bit if you want.
Yeah?
Or take notes somewhere, but make sure you're paying attention to it.
You see this, sod? What does that little sod in parentheses tell me, Robbie?
Author.
Author. Do I always include author in the parentheses? No. Sarah, what do you see on the screen?
There's also
Very good. Title if there's no author. But there's an even simpler rule than that, folks, one that students don't seem to recognize. What goes in the parentheses? Always. Anybody know what goes in the parentheses? Always. You want a simple rule, one rule for what goes in the parentheses? MLA has one. Connor? Connor, you never cease to please me. It's the first piece of the citation. If that's an author, great, it's an author. If it's a title, great, it's a title. If it's a website name, it's a website name. So if I am citing should cigarettes be illegal, what should I see in my citation? Head. Okay, Zach, I'm going to go over it again. Zach, what's the first piece of information on this first citation? What if you don't have a name? Look at that one. I don't have a name.
If there's a name, it's the name of the author. So on this one, what is it? Evans.
Evans. What's it for this one?
Head.
What do I put for this one? There you go. What about this one? Now let's take a look. There's my Evans right there. I'll talk about that et al. In a moment. There's my Evans. There's my leading causes of death. You see how it works? Okay, so a works cited page is an index. If I want to quickly find this citation, I'd better give information that helps me find it. Now you can see why they're hanging indented. What does hanging indentation help me do? Thank you, Josiah. It isolates the first piece of information. So, Josiah, if I did it in reverse, if I did a traditional tab over like that, what's the problem? Yeah, Evans becomes lost, doesn't it? And I look at smoking first. So that's confusing. Now you should understand why we use hanging indentation, because it pulls out that first piece of information. So when I'm looking for the first piece of information quickly, I can find it. So let's say I want to know more about this citation that was this SAD citation or SOD citation. I want to know where that came from. I want to know more about it. I read it in here. I'm thinking, wow, that percentage, that stat, I'm not quite sure about it. So I want to know more about it. I want to know about that SAD citation or SOD citation. I can find it instantly because MLA Citation is an index system that works. Hanging indentation, in-text citation, all of this works together such that I can find information, complex information, really quickly. And you as students first learn the rules, and now you should start to understand why the rules are there. The rules make sense. MLA makes sense. It's a beautiful little system for keeping this information. Something else. Next. And this is a point that drives me nuts because students refuse to do it. What do you notice about this citation? Thank you. Why is it in quotations? Because it's a title. Where else is it in quotations? On the works cited page. So here's a rule. You want to write this down? It might be a good thing to remember. If it's in quotation marks in your citation on the works cited page, it should be in the parentheses too. Quotations here, italics here, italics here. No italics here, no quotations, no italics, no quotations. It doesn't suddenly stop becoming a title because you put it in parentheses. Sarah?
I have a question of in-text citation.
Yes?
Is the period supposed to go after the citation?
That's an excellent question, Sarah. So the period, what's the period placement? And it's kind of complicated. It makes sense to me, but I don't want to complicate it overly much for you. Let me see if I can give you the accurate answer and see if you can understand it. You see my SOD entry? The period's over here, right next to 70s, right? That tells me that this sentence and this sentence, both of them, belong to this SOD entry. So if I want to know what is that SOD entry, what's that about? I'm saying it's about this sentence and this sentence. If I did this, Sarah, what do you think I've just told the reader? Only that sentence. Do you see the difference? Okay. So Since that, Sarah, I'm glad that you see it, but since that is pretty challenging for students, I'm usually pretty giving on the period in that. What I am not giving on, it never goes inside parentheses or any other crazy place. But I have just, if I am a reader who knows MLA format, I know exactly what the writer's saying now. The writer is saying that these two refer to cite. Look at this. Which sentences, Sarah, do you think come from smoke-free lists, maps, and data?
Pretty much all the ones after the evidence.
Oh, you're perfect, Sarah. You're making me a happy person. Everything from this result also appears on a larger scale.
Here's evidence, and then all of this is cited here. So you don't have to cite each sentence, especially if it's the same citation. You don't want to cite this after each sentence. You just put it at the end of the information.
Sarah, one more question. How many of the sentences in this paragraph come from the Evans source? One. Just this one, right? Because of the period. How many sentences in this paragraph are my own original writing? Close. One. A federal ban would change that. Do you see how all of this material that's in this paragraph is actually just my research? And how do I know that? Because MLA Citation tells me that. Robbie, is it making sense to you too?
Yeah.
I'm seeing the light of knowledge. It's awesome. Connor. Okay. Et al. Let me